Hello and welcome to Enigma Park. If you crave the thrill of a good mystery, then this is the place for you. I'll be your host this evening. Some people call me Enigma. Some people call me a mystery. Some people call me Maurice. But you can call me the Riddler.
Welcome, everyone. It's a special team-up episode of Superhero Stuff You Should Know as we assemble the team behind the fan-made comic Batman Enigma, a continuation of the Tim Burton Batman films. We're aiming to have this episode released on YouTube as a collaboration with us, Night of the Batman with Alex, Triple Threat Comics with Ian, and Neuverse Creative with Tim. So just in case there are people around who don't know us, we're all just going to introduce ourselves before we start this discussion. So I'm Ben Wan. I'm the co-host of Superhero Stuff You Should Know, where we've covered the Tim Burton and Michael Keaton Batman films in several deep dives and interviews. And I'm also a voice actor in the Batman Enigma audio drama and motion comic, where I'm not only Bruce Wayne, but also I'm Batman.
I'm Alex. I'm the co-host also of Superhero Stuff You Should Know. And also, I know you heard Night of the Batman. We talk everything Batman related. And also, we might be of some interest to people here. We interviewed John Jackson Miller not once, but twice for his book Batman Resurrection and the upcoming Batman Revolution. So if that's your kind of thing or just anything nice, anything Batman related, go check that out. Ben's been on a bunch of times. It's kind of how me and him started collaborating a lot, was through that. So definitely go check that out.
All right. Well, it's a pleasure to be here again, guys. My name is Eric Elliott. I am one of the writers for Batman Meets Godzilla and Batman Enigma. I am maybe the only person that's not on the Batman Enigma audio recording.
Alex isn't either.
I did no, I did no voices on that, but I am one of the writers behind the scenes.
Hi, I'm Ian Miller. I am the co-founder of Triple Threat Comics. I also am the co-writer and artist of Batman Enigma. I also have my own podcast, Triple Threat Comics YouTube channel.
Very cool. Thank you guys for having me again. For those that don't know me, my name is Tim. I'm the producer and editor on Neuverse Creative. And in terms of Batman Enigma, I also voiced Jonathan Crane / the Scarecrow.
Awesome. Along with several other villains, I remember as well.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
we'll go into that. So awesome. I'm glad to bring everybody in. I know we've talked a while about that. And the Enigma audio motion comic as well kind of has had sort of a big journey too in terms of coming to life. So we're just going to start from the beginning, because in the intro for the Enigma audio and motion comic, Ian, you say that this started out as a story synopsis that you wrote about like 15 years ago. So share with us sort of like the origins of all this.
Okay, well, it all started one night. This is how these things usually start. I was watching one of the Batman documentaries, and this was the Shadows of the Night, which was Dark Side of the Night. And I was watching Tim Burton talking about, very briefly, his excitement on bringing ideas for the third in that movie. That was when the studio started changing gears, and he just point blank said, "You don't want me to make another one, do you?"
Mhm.
And they were like, no. But it was clear the studio had something else in their mind. So I stopped the recording, and 5 minutes I was like, well, what was that third movie in his head? What were the ideas?
Mhm.
So I did a little research, and I saw some of those notes was actually used in Batman Forever. Riddler was definitely going to be one of the villains. There was a love interest that was going to be a psychologist, and they were going to introduce Robin into the movie. So I was like, well, what would we do in a third movie? Let's say there's a lot of plot threads from Batman Returns that needs to be addressed that they kind of just ignored in Batman Forever. So let's just do that. So I wrote a couple of paragraphs, and this is about, wow, 2013.
Wow.
Yeah. So at some point, I was like, you know what? It sounds like a great idea, but I'm gonna just shelve this for now because at that point I was in college at the School of Visual Arts and I was studying to be a cartoonist. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll do it one day. Then cut to 2015. I've already graduated. I was working on my first book, and then I hear DC had passed on an '89 miniseries. So all of a sudden, I was like, okay, I had a Thanos moment from Age of Ultron. Fine, I'll do it myself. So I pulled out, out of the back closet. It collected some dust. So I just typed up certain things, ideas of where the plot could go. And I wanted a new bat suit. I wanted something that was for a tougher Batman because it's a tougher Gotham in this third entry.
Mhm.
And then at some point, I was like, what? I'm just going to shelve it again. Then, cut to a year later, DC had a talent search. I was like, okay, the perfect opportunity. Let me see if I can bring it to them. So I did 2 test pages. I thought it was decent work. They politely said no. So I just put it back on the shelf and I just went full on with the production of Codename Hunter, my comic series. And then I see a Facebook ad that had the words Batman and Godzilla and fan comic. I was like, okay, I have to see what this is about. And then I had a conversation with Elliott. I just sent him my portfolio. I didn't really think I was going to get anything, because this is on Facebook. And no more than 5 minutes later, he messages me and says, "Welcome aboard." I was like, "What? That's it? That really?" So we had a blast doing the first 2 issues. I was really in my element, and he and I got along very well, very quickly. And he asked me one question, which I'm very grateful for. I'm thinking about doing another Batman story. Would you want to collaborate with me? I said, sure, because I was in a great relationship with him. I was like,
Mhm.
yeah, absolutely. He pulls out the Sam Hamm draft of Batman 2, and I read over the weekend. And then Monday morning, he's like, well, what'd you think? I said, I think it's a great script. Sam is a terrific writer. However, what if we did this instead? So I told him about Batman 3, my idea, and I actually had the title Batman Enigma at the time because I was like, well, I did like Batman Forever because why is Batman Forever? I thought Batman Enigma was a bit better title, and he went for it. Eric went for it, and he said, let's do it. So we started writing the first script together, and Eric came up with some great dynamic characters, especially with the Edward Enigma character. He
Mhm.
really channeled Robin in
Mhm.
there. I was very impressed. And then from there, we just, kept coming up with ideas, and we had the first draft. Eric went out to edit, and then I started illustrating it, and that is it.
Nice. Well, also not only Eric is a collaborator, but we also see Paul Brian McCoy is one of the
GBM.
co-writers here who is
Yes.
not able to make it here. But Eric, I mean, Eric and Ian, you guys can chime in terms of which,
Yeah.
like bringing him in and his contributions to this, starting with issue 2, it looks like.
Yeah. So I am notoriously juggling a bunch of things all the time.
I can relate.
Me
And
too.
I had all the story points.
Tim as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well,
All
so
of us.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, for
So I had all the story points between Ian and me nailed down, all the dialogue nailed down, and I just like brought Paul into, okay, can you put this into a script so Ian could draw this and we can get
Mhm.
this done? Because I was holding up Ian. And so he came in and did a great job of structuring it and getting everything into a script, and then like I was a fan of Paul's books. He's got some books, and he's um has a lot of out of the box kind of thinking and stuff. So I thought, wouldn't it be
Mhm.
cool if he came in and when we're getting the script together for 3, like we can have him as part of the contribution and throw in some ideas and just kind of give us some more things to work with. And so he came in on the issue 3 from the where we already had the structure of what the story was going to be, but just kind of
Yeah.
the beats and some of the interesting character moments and stuff like that. So he made some more contributions on 3 than just kind of putting the script together. So he was a you know like I said, we owe issue 2 to Paul, because like if it was on me to get that script done, it just wouldn't have gotten done. But so he came in, saved the day, and then was a big help to us on issue 3. So yeah, it's too bad Paul's not here with us today. He's alive, guys. I don't mean like
Yeah.
he's not.
Just to
I can feel
clarify,
his spirit, but
but
like he's got some interesting books out there that
Mhm.
definitely worth checking out and stuff. So
Yeah,
Awesome.
we just haven't had the opportunity to meet, because I think there was another time we brought you guys on. It might have been about the Marlon Wayans Robin, where he wasn't able to
Yeah.
make it, or maybe it was about Batman and Godzilla. Since we've brought you guys on a couple of times to talk about your projects or things that you guys were working with. So I was like, well, if it'd be awesome if we could make this one, but
yeah,
obviously, schedules permitting, he's busy being a novelist. Then
I think he's a little
having
camera
career.
shy.
Yeah. So Eric, was it you that drew a lot of the art for Enigma, or
Oh, is
No, so Ian's the artist. So
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, so
gotcha.
Ian did all the art. I did a lot of the dialogue
Gotcha, okay.
and the character moments and things like the idea to do Nightwing instead of Robin was my idea, and the whole backstory behind Nightwing was my idea, and
Cool.
some of the a lot of the story beats with Catwoman and that dynamic and stuff, like the bedroom scene and all the fun. What was fun for me, all the dialogue back and
Yeah.
forth between
Yeah,
those guys.
exactly.
That's
Yeah.
a lot of like my contribution. And of course, Ian, his art was perfect for that book, and then black and white, and the kind of the gothic, leading into the gothic Burton. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
here it is.
so yeah, Ian did a great job of kind of capturing Gotham and all of the characters with his unique style. And so his visuals really brought everything to life, and and he's a great person to collaborate with as an artist. So like on Batman meets Godzilla, is there 8 artists maybe on that book?
Okay.
And so I worked with I worked with a bunch of artists putting that together, and every artist is different in terms of how they work and how they like to collaborate and how much input they want from a writer. Some artists appreciate things being scripted out, or even like doing breakdowns. So I would do some breakdowns for some of the artists on Batman meets
Gotcha.
Godzilla. Not that I'm a great artist, but just doing some stick figure type stuff. But Ian, he and I would get on the phone and kind of talk things through before we would kind of tackle an issue and kind of go through our ideas. And then it was a lot of stuff back and forth on like Messenger. And I would say, like, I have this idea, and and while I'm kind of pitching ideas, he's pitching his ideas. And then there's he also does a lot of what he calls thumbnails, but I think his thumbnails are like about the size of like regular art.
Yes.
Like
Yes,
when
they
most
are.
people do
They are.
thumbnails, they're actually the size of your thumb. And so like when he said he was doing thumbnails, like, I just expected like they just be a little, like you take a little sheet of paper, you break it into, 20 squares representing the comic or something, and you have little, but no, it would be like a full page drawing. Like I haven't told him this, but this is not a thumbnail. That's
I know that. I know that. I draw big. I have drawn dead actual thumbnails, but I
it's like
draw
it has
big.
all the detail. It's just in blue.
It's the body nail.
Like, that's,
Well, I was gonna
but
say. Oh yeah.
but yeah.
Alex?
Oh, I was gonna say, Ian, I like that. The reason I asked is because I like that the bat suit. I noticed it's kind of like a halfway point, a little bit between like the Returns suit in a way, and also like the Forever suit in terms of like the ab section I noticed, and I thought that was a cool detail. Also, on like a funnier note, there's a scene where it has Robin Williams where he's like almost doing like is that like who's that workout guy from
Richard
like
Simmons?
the
Yeah,
Richard Simmons where he's
Yeah,
just like
Richard Simmons.
that was
yeah,
totally the point.
That was
yeah,
intentional.
you
I don't know if
realistically
the
depict,
younger guys caught that, but yeah, that
you kind of
Yeah.
realistically depict how much of like just a bear of a guy like Robin Williams was, just how hairy he was and everything. I
hairy
thought
guy.
that was like kind of funny.
Well, I wanted to be true to the actor, and I was true. I guess in every respect.
I'm glad somebody caught that. I wasn't sure that was gonna. I mean, like, there's some references that are, dated. I guess.
But also,
like more
you guys are replicating what a movie could have been in 1994,
Yeah, that's
1995 or
Yeah.
so. So
yes,
part of
yes,
it
for
too.
better or for worse. Kind of like just
Yeah.
leaning into Robin Williams and like the references that he would have.
Star
and
Wars
stuff.
reference too with the
Yeah.
Billy D. Williams thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that
just
was a
fun.
nice one.
That's just
Yeah.
like fun inside stuff. You start referencing the Nightmare Before Christmas, or
Yeah.
Yeah.
the Star Wars piece. And yeah, that's just fun
Yeah.
for me to kind of stick
Yeah.
those in as
Yeah.
Easter eggs.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I want to bring in Tim here so that we can kind of close out the sort of introduction to what is Enigma and stuff. So,
Yeah.
Tim, you run Neuverse Creative, and a lot of wonderful voice, audio dramas there, if I dare say so myself, since I'm in a lot of them or contribute to a lot of them. But yeah, even without me though, I've always been a fan before you and I started. It was just kind of this coincidence where we were doing these episodes, and I saw that like, oh, this channel is doing audio versions, and I'd always wanted to do dramatized versions of these, but it's just like, okay, well, where do we get the actors? Like, how do we assemble it? It can't just be me as everybody, me and like my co-hosts and that type of stuff. So to see that you were doing it was awesome. And then I think we had emailed back and forth, and I told you like, hey, I've actually like heard stuff, and he'd heard my stuff. So that's kind of how we collaborated. How did you and Ian link up and lead to your collaborations that led into Let's Do Enigma as an audio drama?
Yeah, so a good long time ago now. I can't even remember what year it was now because I think it's at least
Oh,
been a couple of years, right, Ian?
yeah, that
It's been a
has it
while.
has.
Yeah, so Ian emailed me and kind of proposed the idea and kind of introduced himself and had talked to me both about Batman and Godzilla as well as this project.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay. And first and foremost, I was like, well, thanks for checking out because he obviously complimented, our channel, and I was like, well, thank you. And I think at that time we were still kind of getting started. I think we only had a couple audio dramas out, or maybe a few. I think it was still
Yeah.
pretty early on in Neuverse's channel, um, yeah, so I was kind of checking out what Ian had sent me, and I was still very new, I think, to what I was doing. And I think Ian was probably the first person that had ever reached out to me in terms of like a collaboration. So I was pretty excited, I'm like, this is
Mm.
this is cool. Yeah, like someone's not only enjoying my channel but wants to work together and collab in some way. So I was like, all right. And so I knew that Enigma really interested me because I'm a huge fan of all Batman media, all the way going back to Adam West, all the way to now. But Enigma definitely attracted me because it was a Burton verse, project with Michael Keaton, and Newverse had, from the beginning was kind of in the business of taking either unproduced screenplays or scripts or ideas and just bringing them to life in a new way. The other thing that excited me about what Ian and and Eric were doing was making a fan comic, or had made a fan
Mhm.
comic. And that was something that I had wanted to do since I was younger, and I just never had the. I'm not an artist in that way, and so it was never something that I did. But it was an opportunity for me to come alongside a team of people who had done this and help bring their project to life in another format, which was audio. So it just took a long time to finally get it produced and finished and edited. But yeah, Ian had reached out a good long time ago. But what I'm really glad is that throughout that time, me and Ian stayed connected. We even did other projects together. He had written the Batman '89 script for us when
Mhm.
we produced an audio drama for Batman '89. I know he's helped me write some other projects, and he's still writing projects, and so Ian's been a good friend and someone that I've been able to collab with, even in the midst of us still kind of working through this project, which obviously we finally got across the goal line. But yeah, it all started with from an email from Ian. Didn't know who he was, and but was very very happy to get that email and very very excited to go on this journey with him. And I'm really excited about where we took it and to see where we're gonna go from here.
Yeah.
That
Awesome.
is so Ian. That's so Ian. He's so good at reaching out to people and connecting with people and collaborating.
For sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's how we got connected too as well. I'm trying to
Yeah.
remember. I think you might have
I
like
think
sent
it
me a
was
DM or something.
He's really good at
yeah
stalking. Let's
yeah
just say it.
yeah. And there's a good
Really
time
good at
bad
stalking.
time talking. Yeah. So yeah, I did the same thing. I reached out to you, Ben, I think through Instagram, I want to say. And I think it was because I wanted your help getting the rest of like a script. I think it was for the Batman. I think we called it Batman '85 on our channel, but it
Oh
was
yeah,
like
yeah,
the
the treatment.
original.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a Tim Burton treatment of Batman. And there's a page in that scan or in that PDF that's like totally missing. And I don't even know if you had it or not. I think I ended up having to work without it. But anyways, I think that's why I reached out, and I'm
Mhm.
glad I did. So
Yeah. No, me too. We did kind of a dual release thing. I remember with that where you had the audio drama release the same time we had our deep dive on that. So that was kind of a cool coordination. And then who knew that was going to lead into the collaboration? Because like with us, it was I had reached out to be like, hey, like there's this Batman '89 comic that I've been doing these videos on. You ever think about doing the audio drama? And I knew you were, but obviously you had a lot of other projects going on. And I was like, well, I mean, I'm not the one to put together the audio dramas in the way that you do. I've tried in the past, and I was just like, never again in terms of just the amount of work involved. So I really do admire everything that you do, Tim, with that because
Yeah,
it's a
you
lot.
don't realize how much work that is
Yeah,
until you try to do
Yeah.
something like that. Just the editing alone is.
yeah. That's why I'm always patient whenever Tim's just like, man, I'm sorry, this project's taking a while. I'm like, dude, like,
Yeah,
Man.
I'm the same way. I'm the same way.
Can I
Tim
ask Tim a
delivers the
question?
goods. Yeah.
go ahead,
Tim, how
Eric.
many of
Yeah.
these do you have going on at any given time? How many scripts are you working at any given time?
I still
I
got to
was
send
just
mine
thinking
in.
I know, right? Yeah, well, I was just thinking about this kind of coming into this conversation was how many projects am I working on? Because I'm very bad. When I first started, I was very good at taking one at a time. And it's weird because I think it's because when I started, I had more time on my hands. I was able to just focus on one, get it done within a month or two, and then move on to the next one. But then I got to the point where life gets busy, and I mean, I'm married with kids, and I'm working a couple different jobs, and so
Yeah.
I'm a pretty busy guy. But I love to still keep my hobby going. And so at this point, I'll be working on something for a good couple months, and then another idea comes along, and I'm very bad about just kind of pushing that idea to the side. But instead, what I do is I just kind of throw it onto my plate, and that just becomes a part of what I'm working on, or at least tentatively what I'm working on. And so right now, I probably have a good at least five plus projects that I've kind of either started or I have the script. Like I have at least a couple projects where I have all the voices, I have everything I need. I just need to edit them. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
the long and the short answer is a lot.
That is a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And some that Ben has written, some that Ian has written, and then a couple others as well.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that we are kind of introducing this to people who may or may not have seen the motion comic or read the fan comic through, following you guys on Twitter and then looking at the Dropbox links for the comic stuff. So if you guys haven't checked that out, we are going to go into spoilers a little bit after the break. So check that out now and then come back when we're back. So see you in a bit. Hey guys, if you want to hear more of us outside of superhero stuff you should know, you're in luck. Both Alex and I have shows and other work that we produce outside of this podcast. Alex, let's hear about your other podcasts.
All right, so obviously I know you guys are a fan of superheroes, so I'll start off with I have Flashbacks, a Flash rewatch podcast where we cover every episode of the CW Flash show. Also, if you're a fan, I know you can see in the corner the Batman thing. We have Night of the Batman, where me and my wife and occasionally other guests cover everything Batman related. Ben was actually on the show, and we interviewed John Jackson Miller, and also we covered his book, Batman Resurrection. So definitely go check that out. And also, if you're more into like kind of a vague kind of movie-ish show, kind of like a vague like What Mean kind of vibe, then I have What Mean podcast, which is also great. That's just vague like movies, TV, music, just whatever I kind of feel like covering. That has made a comeback recently. So look forward to that. And if you're into just TV in general, and especially nostalgic TV, I would recommend Review More Girls. My wife and her cousin cover it, and that show heavily deals with family, the Gilmore Girls show, and they talk about their own personal, their personal family life, and also just how they relate to each other, kind of like the two main characters of that show. So definitely go check that out.
Awesome. Yes, I've been a guest on both Flashbacks and Night of the Batman. I've not watched enough Gilmore Girls to be part of Review More Girls, so I don't know if I'll be making an appearance on that one. But on Flashbacks and Night of the Batman, I've been there, and it's been fun. So definitely check those out. As for me, outside of this show, I'm both a voice actor and a writer. On the voice acting side, I'm currently voicing 3 different versions of Batman on YouTube. Yes, I'm the voice of Batman in the Arkham tapes. That's an analog horror series produced by one of our collaborators, The Bat Feed, in which I play a Bruce Wayne who's injected himself with the powers of the different Rogues Gallery members, becoming this monstrous version of Batman that you see there. And I am also the voice of 2 other versions on Neuverse Creative. That's one of our favorite channels. That's Neuverse. This is a channel that produces audio dramas and motion comics, where I've contributed my writing to episodes devoted to expanding the worlds of the different versions of Batman, not only adapting the movies, but also adapting unmade scripts, junior tie-in novels, or existing comics, and just setting them into the movie continuity. So basically, it's the dramatized version of a lot of stuff that we cover on the show. I'm also the voice of both the Michael Keaton Batman and the Val Kilmer Batman in that. How did that happen? I have no idea, but somehow I landed it in there. Nobody's called me out as a fraud yet. So I adapted the original scripts for Batman Forever when they were produced in 2 audio dramas, one produced in the style of the Burtonverse with me as the Michael Keaton Batman, like you see here, titled Tim Burton's Batman 3, and the other in the style of the Schumacher film, of course, called Batman Forever, the Schumacher cut audio drama with me as the Val Kilmer Batman. So if you're a fan of our Batman coverage, you won't want to miss these. And if you'd like to check out my original stuff, I also self-published my own indie comics. So check out my indie comic series, Alter Ego. This is a mix of Batman No Man's Land with X-Men and The Departed. 5 families of supervillains have taken over the city, and our main character goes undercover as a henchman to eliminate them one by one. And this is now available on Amazon. I say now available. It's always been available on Amazon. That's really the only place you can get it, other than just off of me. So the 3 issues are available on Amazon. There'll be more. You can also get the variant cover of issue 1 done by Alex himself that we see in the middle right here. So this is cool. And that is my first indie series. And the other one is my manga, Musashi and Son. This is based on the real-life samurai Miyamoto Musashi, who wrote the Book of 5 Rings. If you've studied martial arts or any sort of Asian martial history, Miyamoto Musashi comes up a lot in the Book of 5 Rings. And this is the story of how he adopted a son. Think Samurai Batman and Robin in this. They go from village to village, hunting down the bandits that murdered the boy's father. Also available on Amazon, and the link to my Amazon author page is in the description that has all of these available in their different forms, both on Kindle and in print. You can also get merch for both my comics at my TeePublic, which has a link in the description. You occasionally see me wearing either an Alter Ego shirt or Musashi shirt in here, or a Superhero Stuff You Should Know shirt. If you want Superhero Stuff You Should Know merch, that's in here. On top of that, I have an animated movie coming out, directed by a friend of the podcast, Aaron Quinn. It is a faithful adaptation of the James O'Barr graphic novel, The Crow, that I co-wrote with Aaron, who will also be animating, and I will be the voice of the Crow. So that's our plugs. Check those out when you can. We're back to continue covering Batman Enigma, guys. So one of the things that I think is really cool to talk about is your version of the Riddler is unique. Like, this is not just kind of repeating what happened with Batman Forever, where it's like, okay, he's another Wayne Enterprises employee. Nor is it like the comics where it's just literally, well, I want to prove that I'm smarter than everyone, so I'm just going to be the Riddler. Like, there's a lot of thought put into this version where Riddler is reimagined as one of Bruce Wayne's former classmates. He's part of, the old money, the old rich families, which is interesting to see the evolution of Riddler later on after you guys had started doing this, because now we have sort of the opposite version of that in the Batman, with Paul Dano's version being this orphan who was, grew up on the streets and resenting the rich. And then also, Scott Snyder's Absolute Batman says, yeah, by the way, Edward Nygma is also a childhood friend of Bruce Wayne in Absolute Batman. So, thanks a lot, Eric Elliott. This is Scott Snyder. So, can you go into how this version of Riddler came about? Because I think I remember you telling me something, Eric, that I have kind of a possible follow-up on, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
I'll have you go into the story.
So yeah, like, to me is all right. So I don't want to get political here, but it is a little political. So, like, to me, just the personality, forget the politics, but just the personality. So, like, to me, Enigma was a little Trump and Scarecrow was a little Bernie Sanders. And, like, the energy between them and how you see them interact with each other and their world viewpoints and stuff like that I was kind of channeling those people because they were big in the news at the time when we started writing this. And not to say that, like, it has anything to do with politics, and just like the embodiment of their kind of their personalities or their viewpoints on things.
Well, they do want to kill each other at the end, so there's that.
There's that, and they're doing it for different reasons. But, like, the other thing too, kind of like with Enigma, is like, we hint at that he was a reality game show host, and he had this theme park, and so he was, kind of more of an entertainment kind of person and wanted the power for himself. And then, like, the Scarecrow is coming from kind of a nut house, being a former psychiatrist turned nut, and is kind of wanting to do things for, just for the chaos of it. And like, this isn't stuff that, like, Ian and I really talked about, like, from that viewpoint. He wasn't like, yeah, let's make Scarecrow Bernie Sanders, but, like, but like, it was more like with him, it was like, then it's Nicolas Cage as Scarecrow, and that's the embodiment of it. And but, like, for me, to try to ground this into, like, the conflict of it is like, the power struggle over Gotham, which is like, you see them at the auction house, and they're bidding on the charter, and then Enigma wins it, and then he just burns it in front of Bruce, just saying, like, that's the difference between you and me. You want to save Gotham, I just want to burn it down and rebuild it. So, that was kind of in my head at the time. And then also something that actually you had a part in, was you did an interview with some of the, I think it was the script writers.
The Baxters,
Yeah. And so they had talked about, like, him being, like, at boarding school was Bruce. And I thought that was a really good idea, and it never got used. So I kind of stole that. And so that was kind of part of it. And so, like, to me, it was also, like, anytime you're doing, like, a fan comic, it's your chance to do something completely different than what anybody else would do. So I didn't want to do, like, anything that they had done in the movie, with either of the characters, with Enigma or Scarecrow. And so it's like a lot of it is like, or even like in the comics, like, I don't want to be, like, so faithful to the comic that I'm just retreading what somebody else has written. And so it was a lot of it, like, what could we do that hasn't been done yet? And so, I mean, like, I went down some different avenues, just trying to explore these characters and coming up with different things. On the Scarecrow, one of the avenues I explored was, like, a Native American Scarecrow. Like, his origin story would have been, yeah, like, in the Gotham area, those Native American tribes. And so I even researched the Native American tribes in, like, the New Jersey area where Gotham would have
I
been.
remember you telling me this, yeah.
And so, but, like, it was like, like, Johnny Depp would have been the Scarecrow, and, like, he would have a more mystical Scarecrow, like he would actually have attack crows, like literal crows that he could, that would follow him and would be would attack, and in addition to being like having the chemicals and stuff like that. But like in writing
Wow.
the background, to it was 10 pages of the comic just to tell that version of the Scarecrow. And I still think it's a fun, cool idea, but it just would.
Yeah.
And trying to do a 3-issue comic, it just like you got so much ground that you can cover. So he actually, to me, like I wish we had done more with the Scarecrow in the story. But with the time constraints we had, it you don't get a lot of it is just like give inferring things like the game shows and
Mhm.
that he was a therapist, and like you're trying to give the information as most interesting and entertainingly as you can, but is also like you can't linger on stuff for too long. It's got to keep moving. And so yeah, like if we were to write a novel of this, or if we were doing like a 6-issue storyline, like there's all kinds of avenues we could have gone down and explored in more detail. But that's kind of like when I was doing research for the book and stuff, I was listening to a lot of Ben and Andrew and like just Batman scholars from for 50 years from now will be going back and listening to all of Ben's podcasts.
wow.
Because it's the most
pretty much.
like where all the exploration that you've done, all that research that you've done, you've done a credit to anybody that wants to write Batman down the road, especially a Burton Batman, because you talk to all those authors and all those people that have been engaged and stuff. So when I was I was listening to all that and just trying to think of just doing a lot of walking and listening to podcasts and getting my ideas and stuff. But that's kind of how I came to it, was just really trying to do something different that hadn't been done, and then working with the people that we know, like the embodiments, the Robin Williams and Nick Cage, and kind of like what they would bring to the roles if they were in them.
For sure.
Gotcha.
My follow up on this, because I remember you mentioning to me a while back about like the idea of the boarding school thing coming from one of our episodes, and I was like, which one was that? What was that? And I would have to go back, but what I do remember is sharing. So there's this chapter in the Batman Forever novelization that's young Edward Nygma, and he's seeing the young Bruce Wayne in the newspaper, and sort of inspired to become like idolizing him, like that version of Riddler. And I might have shared this in one of the episodes. I definitely had written a version at one point in my like fan writing days, inspired by that chapter, where Edward and Bruce knew each other in boarding school, and Edward was kind of like a unique take on a bully, where it wasn't like he was a physical bully. He was more of the intellectual, or like cut you down with words type of bully that you would hate,
like
type
me,
of thing.
more like me, yeah.
So so that's the main follow up I have on that, because it's like I don't remember that, but I did remember having something similar. So it's one of those like our minds are synced type of thing. Of like, oh, that could be a cool take on the Riddler, is this guy who like haunted him as a kid, of like trying to rub into his face about like, you're not smart, I'm the smart one, like that type of
that could work.
For that for sure. So I remember that from the past and being like, all right, which was that episode? But then I was like, oh, it was probably something like that, where I might have talked about that, or maybe I mentioned it to the Bachelors as a possible backstory. I'd have to go back and look, but I thought that was kind of cool, where like technically it's like, okay, I'll take some credit for the contribution you gave me.
I give you all the credit.
Thanks, Eric. Also, before we jump to Alex's question, I just got to show this in terms of Riddler. So this is Ian's Riddler on the left, and the Joe Quinones Riddler for Batman Revolution on the right that he did. And I think Ian's already noted to everybody. I mean, you can kind of see, sure, there's the Riddler, so there's going to be a resemblance. But I think the biggest thing here is like, look at the glasses and the like almost, I don't know,
bowler hat,
frizzy hair. So
well, Ian and I specifically talked about the glasses. And I said, Ian, if you go watch any Burton movie, all the glasses are always round.
Yeah.
And so that
Never
there was
noticed that.
definitely we definitely talked about that.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. The look for Riddler, for me, especially Robin's Riddler, was based on the movie Toys,
Yeah.
yes.
because he wears the Red Bull and that. I was like,
Yeah.
he would have made a great Riddler. So I was like, okay, let's just take a look at that. I had no idea, that Joe was going to do his own version, like so. But his version is more towards like the animated series one, because if
Yep.
you look very carefully, you've got the full green suit and the hat, but also a question mark tie. I didn't want to go in that direction. I was like, this is a businessman, so why don't we just do a business suit? But I think my bowler hat's a bit better because it's got a question mark on it.
And it's got a Burton
I
question
like.
mark, which I like.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
very true. Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool. All right. So like I'm also gonna add my own thing to this because I had an additional question on top of this. But so we have a bunch of other villains reimagined in the Burtonverse: Ventriloquist / Scarface, Tweedledee and Tweedledum, and Solomon Grundy. What led
Yeah.
to these characters getting included? And also, kind of my second thing I'm going to tag onto this is there, because obviously we see like these different villains. Did you have like a story in mind of like
Ooh.
when in this Batman's career did he meet them? Are we going to see that at some point? Is that an idea? Maybe.
Good question, Alex.
Ooh.
I'm ready for your pitches, Alex. I want to hear
Yeah,
them.
yeah, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
And Biz too, so I could steal them.
Well, let me add this, because Batman's supposed to be. It's implied he's retired after the events of Return.
Yes, he is.
So
It's literally said yes.
that
Yeah.
must
Yeah.
mean then that all these villains happened in between '89 and Returns in the Enigma.
I might have something for
Yeah,
Scarface,
maybe,
but
maybe.
Mm.
Yeah, I'd like
I'll
to
leave
hear
it.
the Scarface story. But yeah, I think Eric, you and I already discussed this beforehand. We really wanted to establish, that stuff happened in between the movies
Mhm.
where he encountered other characters, but we didn't. I didn't know specifically which villains that we were going to include, until I read the script. But then when I read the script, I was like, this seems like a great idea. These seems very Burton-esque. I mean, Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
Mhm.
Come on, that's Burton right there.
Well,
Then Ventriloquist is always a fascinating character, especially with Scarface. So I was like, yeah, he could definitely fit in there. Solomon Grundy. I was like, okay, now this has to happen. We talked about it. I was like, okay, let's just put in the comic. Let's just put in there. And I had fun drawing those scenes.
yeah, I will say it doesn't even have to make sense to me. It just has to be kind of fun. So
Yeah.
like Ben's like, man, where in the timeline did this happen? And like
Yeah.
I'm more like, don't let a good character go to waste.
Sure.
So instead of filling your like the villain, the rogues gallery was a bunch of unknowns or just generic looking guys, is like bring in some of the something that would fit in a Burton universe, something
Yeah.
that's a little interesting. And then also like, as a writer or just being creative is like, I want to kind of have my own take on it, and add something to, the Batman lore. And I mean, all of this to me is like a chance it's a fan comic, okay,
Yeah.
but it's also a chance to add to the Bat lore and do something nobody else has done. And you
Mhm.
never know like how this stuff will impact other people, or just be fun, or like make people talk and think. Like
Yeah.
if anybody doing a fan comic or even doing their own Batman, don't just do what everybody else has done. Try to do
Yeah.
something, and not just for the sake of being different. To like there's a lot of examples of people just doing something different, and it's just like it doesn't hold
Mhm.
together because it doesn't it's not it doesn't make sense. But just to
Mhm.
be a little bit bold, try to explore a different angle or something. And so like I just didn't want to waste some good, some panels with generic,
Yeah.
you know people. And so I wasn't thinking like, okay, Batman took down Solomon Grundy, or maybe he didn't even do that. Maybe he was just a heavy for the Scarecrow. But it was like a fun way of like, I mean, like how does Batman take down Solomon Grundy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's. But thanks for noticing that. That was a lot of fun writing those characters in.
Yeah. And speaking of that too, the fan thing, like I big fan of like fan films and stuff. I even did my own at one point. Like it was like a fan series, kind of like Smallville
Okay.
esque, where it was like Bruce and Harvey, like they meet as like younger people and they're like budding friendship kind of thing. And I had like Rupert Thorne was controlling like a
Ooh.
gang in there, and like there was a question mark killer that was kind of a predecessor for Riddler in there too. So kind of just like a bunch of things, like kind of just, you know, mixing and matching that kind of thing, like you guys are talking about, and
Yeah,
kind of
absolutely.
the whole thing of him figuring out who he was, and also having Harvey help him with his vigilante stuff just to kind of do something different, because it is like, you know, an Elseworld kind of thing. And also it's a fan project. That's kind of the fun thing about fan projects.
Absolutely.
Is like it's not like a studio where they're like, well, how are we going to justify paying this actor to do
Exactly.
this or something? It's just like,
Absolutely.
who cares? The creativity, like the sky's the limit with stuff like this. So I totally get what you guys mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if I could chime in, I was going to say I've never been a huge fan of like when you're watching a comic book movie and they invent all these new characters when the comic books are chock full of characters.
Yeah.
100%.
Exactly.
And so if Batman is going to break into Arkham Asylum, well, then you better have characters like Solomon Grundy in there. If he's going to have a fight sequence with, I think that's actually probably, it was one of the funnest scenes to edit was the fight scene with Batman and Grundy. And so, yeah, if he's going to go in and fight this hulking character, it might as well be Solomon Grundy, you know, as opposed to just a random inmate, you know, that no one's going to recognize.
Right.
Because it's a fan comic largely for the fans. There's some fan service in there, so service me, you know.
Yes.
So to get us some of these characters that we recognize, it's a treat, you know. And it's, for me, it's far superior than to just have some random inmate that Batman's fighting with, where the scene can be elevated a little bit with a character that we all know and love.
For sure.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about how do you make a giant Solomon Grundy in
That's
1994 either.
You have an advantage. I also wanted to shout out to Tim. Tim not only does the voice of Scarecrow in this, but he's also the voice of Grundy, Tweedledee, Tweedledum.
Oh wow!
I don't know if there's any other Arkham patients. You're probably a few cops there, Tim. Like,
yeah,
here and there. But you got to be Grundy himself. You got to be all sorts of stuff. So it surprises me each time. Sometimes when I look at the cast list and I see like, oh shit, like Tim also did this guy and that guy. That's like he's obviously we know you from doing these productions and editing these things, but you're also an awesome like voice actor as well to do all these different
multi-talented
inhabit multitudes.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like when you're editing these, you also get to choose who's playing each character. And sometimes, especially with a project like this, I mean, there's a lot of voice roles in this project, and so some of them, you know, even though they're known characters, they only have a couple lines. So it's like, okay, do I get a voice actor to do this part? When, if it's possible, I could record the lines, you know, myself, as long as I can do it justice. And so for someone like Grundy, I felt comfortable with it because I was like, well, I could do a very kind of like hulkish kind of vibe with it and get really kind of, get really kind of grunty and what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of raspy and kind of, you know, kind of, I guess kind of monsterish with it is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And then in post production, just lower my register and edit it down to make it sound like a kind of hulkish, monstrous figure. So yeah, I'm always down to voice more characters as long as I can distinguish it from other characters that I'm playing. That's the main thing I want to do. Is I don't want to be like, oh, that sounds like the same guy doing Grundy that did Scarecrow that also did this cop in this scene. I want them to all sound distinct enough that you don't notice it while you're listening to it.
For sure. Yeah. I think that's achieved because a lot of times I don't even know until I look.
Dad.
Yeah. Which is good. I'm glad.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see the next one. Oh yeah. So before we go into our next break, I just wanted to ask a quick question about Nightwing and the Flying Graysons and how this is a different take, because obviously with a Burton universe, everyone likes to imagine, okay, what could have happened with the Marlon Wayans version of Robin? And so we've seen when we Tim and I worked on Batman 3, that was very much like, okay, we're doing the Batman Forever script, so that's the traditional Dick Grayson version. And then when Joe Quinones and Sam Hamm did the Batman 89 one, they went with the Daniel Waters. Okay, he's a mechanic. He's not even Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, or Tim Drake, or Damian Wayne. He's his own version. And you guys have carved out your own version. That's a mix of Nightwing, a little bit of that Batman 2 Sam Hamm draft where he's already his own vigilante. But this backstory is unique to this specific version. So go ahead and go into that.
Yeah, so, like, for me, like, I was breaking my head on how to make Robin a Burton character, and, like, for me, it just never I love Robin, he's one of my favorite characters, but he just didn't work in the Burton universe, and so I just I just skipped past it and said, "Well, we'll just make him Nightwing," and and so that solved a lot of problems, right? Like, just in terms of tone and how it would fit, the costuming and all of that. You solve a lot of problems just right there. And then, by the way, like, Ian did an amazing job with the costume on Nightwing.
It looks great.
And so then it's like, then I had to back into, well, why would he be Nightwing? And then also, how do I solve for the Flying Graysons? And I just like, oh, okay. So his father was a Vietnam pilot with codename Nightwing. So he picked that up from his dad. And then carrying that forward, their tragedy, they were Flying Graysons, but they were at a flying air show. And the tragedy came from their, and you don't, I mean, like, we kind of allude to it in this, this hallucination that he has, that his parents died in this plane accident at an air show. And then kind of gets picked up later where Catwoman says, "Oh, you were little Dicky from the Flying Graysons." So so to me, it was kind of solving a lot of writing is a problem solving, as you guys all know. And so the problem I was trying to solve is, how do I do a Robin in the Burton universe? And how do I do the Flying Graysons? And so I just kind of didn't want to do the trapeze stuff. I mean, one, because it's done, overdone, and then I just thought it was more interesting, and then two, just like economy of a space. Like, how can I tell this in the pages that we have and stuff? And so it felt like, for me, writing it is like maybe the thing I'm most proud of, in this book, was creating that character and the backstory, and, like, that would be fun to revisit doing more Nightwing stories. I think he's a very one of my favorite characters that I've done, and we had a lot of fun with him. And I love the voice acting on the audio version as well. And so it sounded like he had a good time doing the audio too. So maybe we'll do another comic and then another audio drama, or maybe we just do the audio drama. Ian said, I don't want to draw the pages.
Hey, I might want to.
For the future. But yeah, I think over the years you hear all sorts of things about fans' ideas of what Tim Burton Batman 3 could have been, and I think it's grown into such a big thing where it's like, oh, it's not only the Batman Forever cast that people have in mind, but also you've got in their minds, like, Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman comes back, and you've got the Scarecrow on top of it. And I always thought, like, that's so crowded, like that would never have really worked. But then, I mean, obviously with the exception of not having Chase Meridian in it, but Enigma in some ways takes that cast, but does it with the economy of storytelling that what Eric, you were just talking about, where I'm like, oh, if you really had to do these characters, this is how you do it, where it's the each one serves a different purpose, and the backstory is done in such a way that it doesn't feel overcrowded. And so that's why I think, like, yeah, I don't think the trapeze with the Flying Graysons and Robin being the orphan fits this specific version of the story. I think you had the perfect amount of backstory for Dick Grayson in this version of it, the perfect amount of backstory for really all the different villains that are part of it, because we don't really get a whole, like, this is the origin story of this type of villain. They're all kind of already created, and the origin is implied through, like, the backstory that Alfred finds out on the back computer about Crane, or just what we know about Enigma. And I really appreciated that, and I was like, okay, this is how you would do it. This is how you would actually do it if you had Riddler, Scarecrow, Harvey becoming Two-Face, Catwoman coming back and a Dick Grayson in this story that continues off of it. Like this is pretty much what I would accept as the version that has all of those characters, because you were able to balance those out really well. So I wanted to give.
Well, that was what we tried to do. So I
Yeah.
appreciate that. We really
Mhm.
tried to.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I think that Nightwing for me was probably the most brilliant treatment of all these characters in the
Mm.
story, because I also thought that the whole Vietnam uh that whole call sign thing, that Nightwing was his dad's call sign, that whole element, all of that was truly, truly brilliant. I mean, if you were gonna reinvent or retell Dick Grayson's story, that he is Dick Grayson, and he is Nightwing, and he is a vigilante, and his family, did pass away. I think that was a really, really creative and brilliant way to do it. And the moment I read it, I was like, oh, I like this. This is really, really cool. And you're right, Eric. It fits the Burton world, and the suit looks great. And I mean, I think the treatment of all the characters is great. I would say, especially going back to the Riddler. We talked about him earlier, but the treatment of the Riddler. But yeah, there's something about the way you approach Nightwing that was really, really fresh, and it worked great for the story. So I really applaud you for that.
Yeah, well, thank you so much.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. So we'll go into a quick break, one last break, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit more about the audio drama. And then I want to kind of cover some Easter egg type of stuff, deep divey type of stuff that you guys presented in your fan comics. So we'll see you in a bit. Hey guys, every month you get a new episode of Superhero Stuff You Should Know. Isn't that right, Alex?
That's right, Ben.
Yeah. But what if you could get more and support our show? So you can get an extra episode of our show per month if you support us on Patreon over at www.patreon.com/superherosysk, where you mainly get the $5 tier or the $10 tier. On the $5 tier, you'll get your name shouted out at the end of the episode from Alex himself in a Stickley voice, or maybe some other voice. We'll see what happens with this episode.
That's right, Ben.
What the hell is going on here?
What the hell is going on here?
You'll also
listen up. He's got to tell you.
We'll also have early access for you to all our videos and episodes if you're part of the $5 tier. You'll also get an exclusive episode each month for that tier. So an exclusive episode could be about a deeper dive into a novelization. We've covered the Alan Grant Jr. novelization for Batman Forever on there. We can also cover comics or alternate history of comics. We've done like the what if, in terms of what if Jason Todd had survived a death in the family. We have reviews. We sometimes cover news. We sometimes do deeper dives into smaller things. We had a whole 2.5-hour episode on each of the characters who showed up in the mural of the Hall of Justice in James Gunn's Superman. Though I gotta say, that's probably like our highest viewed Patreon episode, looking at the views there. Yeah. Or it's the same guy who just couldn't get enough of our talk about the Ghost of Flanders. You know who you are. So on the $10 monthly meetup, you'll get the meet and chat with Alex and me about all the latest superhero news, movies, TV shows. This is a virtual meetup in a Zoom setting that we usually have on like a Wednesday night. It's
not in person.
Sit down and talk about it. It's not in person. Sorry, we can't fly us all over there. You got to pay a lot more to the Patreon to do that. And in some ways, the other perks you get on the $10 tier is you get to influence the show in some ways. We give you sometimes the options of a poll to vote on things like thumbnails or even what episodes to cover. And you also get the opportunity to submit questions for future guest interviews that are in the StreamYard setting that we're doing, where we have enough time to cover everything. So if this is an interview episode you're listening to or watching right now, there's probably some Patreon patrons who are able to submit some questions for this one. So check it out. And if you want to help us out, but you can't afford an ongoing monthly Patreon subscription, totally understand. That's okay too, because we're also selling collections of Patreon exclusive series. These are playlists of the $5 tier episodes curated by myself that are kind of sold individually. You don't have to sign up for a subscription. You can just have a one-time donation, and you can have it per each playlist that you want to get. We have playlists of deeper dives into things like the Tim Burton Batman films, of course, one of our specialties. We've got the movie magazines for Batman 89 and Batman Returns. We covered those. We also have an episode by episode deep dive into the Penguin show. If you love that show too, like I did.
How much does it cost, Ben? $100?
$100? $100 per episode. No, it's not $100. It's more like $12 for the entire thing.
That's a bargain.
Yeah, for what used to be months and months of Patreon episodes, I put them all together for you just for $12 or so. So you can just donate $12 and get all that content and not have to worry about a monthly subscription. So check that out. And Alex says that it's a bargain, and he would know because he also, before he became co-host, used to be a fan who was a Patreon patron who was donating and he was an audience who was part of those episodes. So
that's right.
Thank you, Alex. Now, what if you like the show, but you don't just want more content? You want something, tangible, something to hold in your hands, something that you could even wear. Well, you want some merch, and we have that too. As you can see, I'm wearing this Quick Change Bruce Wayne shirt resembling the Kenner action figure that was famous, that a lot of you guys, I know you're a Superhero Stuff You Should Know type audience. Either you're listening to it or you're somebody who's a good candidate for it if you recognize this shirt in the wild and ask, where did you get that shirt? So we can tell you, here's where you can get that shirt. This is an exclusive Superhero Stuff You Should Know styled shirt designed by a fan of the show, Cole Watkins, very talented artist. He helped design this. This is a special Superhero Stuff You Should Know version. As you can see, the red bat says Superhero SYSK, but it does not mess with the overall Quick Change Bruce Wayne dynamic that you see here. This shirt not only resembles the action figure, but also has been worn by a Batman. Yes, it's been worn by former guest of the show, Carl Newman, who is the movement double for Michael Keaton in Batman 89 in the suit. And he brings the action figure to life here, looking like he's right outside Wayne Manor, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's just chilling out.
Good.
Yeah. So, and then all the comments, of course, all want one. So if you want one of your own, go to our TeePublic link in the description. Go to the link there. You can scroll down. You'll see a variety of different options you can have. It doesn't just have to be this long sleeve shirt, though most people will go for that because it resembles the Michael Keaton action figure the most. But you can also get this design on T-shirts, stickers, mugs, and at the same time, you could also get the same stuff from the logo that Dan designed. Yes, our new logo from Dan of Superhero Stuff You Should Know. You can get that type of merch on TeePublic on the same types of things, either tank tops, hoodies, mugs, stickers, hats. They're all on there on the TeePublic, as well as merch for My Comics, Alter Ego, and Musashi and Son. So any of these will help basically the show, and it's money that you pay that does not go into us spending it on batarangs or things like that, or this grappling gun and that type of stuff. It goes to paying Dan for the work he does for us. He's our producer, our editor. He does a lot for us on here, and the money goes to him as well as goes to the StreamYard subscription that we use that enables us to record in this way. So please get yourself some more of our show, get yourself some merch, and support us if you can.
And remember, you gotta have your Superhero Stuff You Should Know merch while you're watching Superhero Stuff You Should Know.
That's right. It's not a Superhero Stuff You Should Know episode without a Superhero Stuff You Should Know ball cap.
That's okay. They can get it next time, Ben.
And we're back. We're going to talk about the audio drama that we've adapted into the motion comic for Neuverse Creative.
Cool. So, Tim, can you talk about the casting process for Enigma?
Yeah, well, that was an interesting process for this project because we had worked with the Burtonverse on several other projects in the past, and our casting process has always changed, throughout time because we've done paid roles, we've done non-paid roles, I've had people reach out to me that wanted to be in our productions, so I would work with some of those people. I would find other avenues of working with people, and as we talked about earlier, I would voice certain characters, and we had worked with Ben on a couple voice roles before, and then we talked about this in the past. We discovered that Ben could actually pull off the Michael Keaton Batman voice, and it was kind of a happy accident that worked out because we had a guy that was doing it for a while, and he was amazing, but he just became unavailable, and then Michael Keaton wasn't returning my calls, and so I trying to find
ours either.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that, but if you guys can get a hold of him, that'd be great. But I was working really hard to try to find someone who could pull off Keaton, and that was one of the things that even though I had worked with a lot of voice actors that could do you know, that had done like impressions and stuff, no one would felt comfortable with Michael Keaton. Not even like Nick Gonzalez, who had done a lot of impressions
Mm.
and plays the Riddler in this one. He's like, that's just out of my wheelhouse, bro. There's just nothing I can do about it. I was like, all right. I mean, I'm sure that's not how he said it, but basically, it was a no, which I understood. If you're not comfortable doing the part, you're not comfortable doing the part. And so I reached out to Ben for a previous project, which was the Batman 3, Tim Burton's Batman 3, which is the Batman Forever
Oh yeah.
script.
Mhm.
And he pulled that off beautifully. And so he, at the same time, I think, at the same time, also gave him the script for, I gave him the script for this one. And so Ben played Batman, played him beautifully, did a great job. And then, Nick
Thank you.
was always very clear on playing Robin Williams Riddler, and so he had done that for Batman Forever as well as this one, and I think he did the lines at around the
Oh,
same time. And Nick, I mean, if I'm honest, and all respect to every single person that did a voice in this, but I think Nick is the standout,
Yeah.
voice in this
Mhm.
project. I
yeah.
Definitely.
mean, he sounds like Robin Williams, I mean,
Mhm.
and the
Yeah.
thing that I love about Nick, and Nick has always been amazing in any production that he's been a part of. I mean, he's one of my favorite people to work with because he's truly, really, really good. But what he does with Robin Williams is he does what he often does in his movies, which is he's not only doing a Robin Williams impression, but he's impersonating the other like characters that Robin Williams would often do in his movies, especially like when he did the genie, and when he'd play roles like that, is he kind of pulls out another character in his performance. And so Nick is really, really good at that and does a
Mhm.
little bit of that in this project, which I love. And then I remember Ian telling me that they envisioned, Nick Cage for the Scarecrow, excuse me, for Scarecrow, which I thought was brilliant because I know that he was definitely considered for a completely different project. I think when Joel
Mhm.
Schumacher was
Unchained. Yeah.
potentially going with Batman 5, yeah,
Yeah.
that Nick Cage was approached for that role. And I mean, if you're going to tap someone in the mid to late '90s for Scarecrow, I mean, Nick Cage is, I mean, a solid choice. And
Mm.
we had used Nick Cage or a Nick Cage voice for Superman Lives, and so we already had a guy that had done it before. But I had secretly wanted to do Nick Cage like all the time, and even for
Me too.
Superman Lives, yeah. And so for Superman Lives, I had actually kind of auditioned for myself for Superman Lives, but I didn't feel comfortable with it yet. So I went out and found a guy that did it, and he did a great job. And so this time around, I was like, I wonder if I'm ready to do this. And so, kind of leading up to it, I was practicing Nick Cage everywhere that I went. I would practice Nick Cage with my wife, and she got so sick of it. Like we would be at the grocery store he's like, well, honey, I think we really need to get some more cereal. And so I would just go into Nick Cage, like, I would go into Nick Cage with my kids and with friends, and everyone loved it. And it was always just a funny thing I would do. But I was doing it secretly to try to get myself the role of Scarecrow for this project. And so I felt pretty confident in it. And so I was like, I'm just going to do it. Like I really, really, it's one of those things, like, it's just a passion thing of mine and it was just so much fun to be able to play. And the lines are great, the script is great, so it's just a win-win for me. So I played Scarecrow, which
I
obviously that
like
was
that you auditioned for yourself over several
Yeah.
weeks. That's
yeah. Thank you. Well, I think it goes back to something that me and Ben talked about for when he was voicing Batman for the Michael Keaton and also the Val Kilmer versions.
Mhm.
Was you want to feel good about it yourself because
sure.
especially for the other projects that Ben wrote, he's like, I don't want to put a crappy performance into something that I wrote. I want
Yeah.
this to be good. And even though I didn't write, Enigma, it's like I want this to be good. I really
Mhm.
want to honor what Eric, Paul, and Ian wrote in this really great project. I want it to be good. And I know it's a fan project. We're not working with professional people, even though some of these guys like Nick, they sound professional. I think this guy should be working in Hollywood.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But if I'm gonna have a part in it, voice wise, I want it to be good. So I was crafting it for a while, and I even sent my audition to a few people that I trusted. One of them was Nick, and I can't remember if it was Nick or not, but one of them told me he's like the only criticism I have is that your natural voice is a little bit higher than Nick's. And so if you could bring your voice down a little bit, that'll elevate the performance and make it sound a little closer to Nick Cage. And so that was probably the only thing I felt that I wasn't able to nail was his lower register for Nick Cage, because he actually has a deeper voice than you might realize. He does have a pretty deep voice. So that was the
Mm.
only thing that I definitely struggled with. But other than that, I was just trying to capture his cadence and the way that Nick gets wild and gets angry when he's on screen. Nick Cage has done a lot of really wild roles that obviously I think he would have nailed Scarecrow. And so I was
Yeah.
trying to just channel that. So I was just watching scenes of Nick Cage just going ballistic but also some of the more like tender, soft and whispery things that Nick Cage would do. And so yeah, so I did that. I did obviously Grundy and Tweedledee and Tweedledum, and I did some of the couple probably of the cops, because there's a lot of different cops in there, and a lot of like just one-liners where it was just kind of easy for me to get in front of my microphone and just do that. We were recasting Catwoman for this project, because unfortunately we weren't able to work with the same actress who had done it before, and she had done it wonderfully. But it was
Weren't able to
we
get
were just at a
Michelle
point.
Pfeiffer either.
Yeah, she wasn't. Yeah, she wasn't
She's
interested.
not returning calls either.
The
Something's up.
There
diva,
was like a
man. I don't
restraining,
know.
there was a restraining order and everything, and so police came to my door, and it was the whole thing. Just kidding. I just want her to be in my audio drama. What's so wrong with that?
Yeah, come on.
And I'm only asking her to work for free. Is that so wrong?
Exactly.
Yeah, you're doing her a favor, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, that's
She
what
needs
I'm
the
feeling.
exposure.
Like,
Yeah.
do you know yeah, yeah, exactly. So we found we found someone to fill that role, and she did wonderful.
Hmm.
Um, um, Angelica Jade, sorry, I was trying to get her name right. She came in and did Catwoman, did it wonderfully, did a great job, and everyone
Yeah.
did a great job. And then there was a lot of other people that we had worked with before that we were just kind of bringing back to voice different roles. And so that's always one of the funnest parts of the process is finding who's going to voice the characters. And then Ian came in, did a couple parts himself, which was, that was really cool to get Ian in there. And I was going to say, when I showed my kids the motion comic and they got to listen to it and watch it for the first time, Ian does this kind of intro message. And my kids are sitting there, and one of my kids is like, is that the guy? Is that the main character from How to Train a Dragon? And I'm like, no, that is not the guy from How to
Ian
Train a
has a
Dragon.
cartoon voice. I've never
Yeah.
said this, but he reminds me of the original the original voice for Homer Simpson, like the before,
Oh,
like
yeah.
Oh
the
wow.
first voice for Homer Simpson. But he's got a great cartoon kind of voice. Yeah.
He does, and so I think we need to get Ian more voice roles
We do,
in
yeah.
these audio
Yes,
dramas. Yeah,
100%.
yeah, and so yeah, that was kind of the process. It was just I was kind of at a point where we were just working with new voice actors for some roles, and obviously I wanted to voice some of the characters in it as well. So, but I was very happy with the result, and yeah, and again, I think the Ian did a great job of rewriting the script into, I guess, adapting it into an audio drama script, but it was really relied on dialogue as opposed to having narration and dialogue. It was mainly just dialogue, and it was a very dialogue heavy comic, and so I think it was really good playground for the voice actors to do their parts. And one of the first scenes that I edited was Bruce and Alfred talking, and there's just really it's probably one of my favorite parts in the audio drama is Bruce recognizing a Batman mug and him kind of scoffing at that. And it reminded me of Batman Returns when he eats the soup and it's cold, and he
Mm.
makes like it's very Michael Keatonish to make like a little jest, like, "What is this?" And it was reminiscent of
That's some
that.
kind of joke.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so tonally it was in the Burton verse. The dialogue was really good, and it was a really great playground for anyone who played a voice role in it. And yeah, that was kind of the process. And again, I'm very very happy with how it turned out.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really love the fact that this became a motion comic because it feels like,
Yeah.
oh, this is now like a little, like this is a movie now that I can watch and like show people. Like this is almost
Yeah.
like now I've kind of speaking as the Batman in this, I'm just like, oh well, now I'm now this is like the closest thing I've got to like an animated movie with me in it. So I thought that was amazing when I first heard the news from both of you guys that this was going to be turned into a motion comic, and I felt that fits so well because of the fact that it got to showcase Ian's visuals as well as just looking at the script and like there's a lot of action in this that I feel like like now that this like I can see this work even more now that we get to see so much of the stuff that's going on. Even though I know that you had written stuff so that it would work for audio of like the narration of what's going on in people's heads, but just having that stuff to watch on the YouTube really helps bring it together and gives us a little really cool movie experience. So I love that it turned out that way.
Yeah, it was a cool experiment. I think it came off really great.
Yeah, Tim actually pitched this to me in an email. I think before you would just finish editing the audio. He emails me and says, "Ian, I got an idea. Why don't we just take some of your images and make this into a motion comic?" And I went straight for it right away. I thought this was a great idea, So I started sending him pages, but I also made sure they broke up the pages into panels so he has enough images, they can get started editing right away. And when I saw the test that he had of that one scene, Tim, when we're in the Batcave, I was completely floored. I was like, "This looks and sounds great. I think the audience is really going to love this." Then when I saw the teaser trailer, which went up skyrocket in views and likes, I was like, "Wow, I think we got something here."
So that was, I remember, I do remember that. I remember sending you the test, and I never edited a motion comic, and so I was just kind of like, well, I'll take the visuals and obviously pair them up with the scenes. And so I knew it was going to be more work, but I knew the outcome was going to be so much better than just the audio, and make the viewing experience entirely better. But the trailer was something that Nick, the voice actor for the Riddler, had come up with. I think he just sent it to me one day. He's like, "Hey, I have an idea for just a little trailer, a little teaser." And I was like, "Dude, yes, like we should be doing this with every project we do. This is
You guys
gold."
don't do that with every project? Okay. Well,
I think we've only done trailers for a couple different projects. Yeah, and then this
Batman
one being
3,
an audio, or I'm sorry, motion comic. It was just the perfect opportunity to actually put out a trailer before the release. And so Nick really knocked it out of the park, and I'm gonna probably employ this guy to. I'm gonna commission him to do some more because it was great. It was really, really solid. I was really happy.
I remember, Eric, a while back when I first brought you guys on for the Batman Meets Godzilla, we were talking about, because that was back when we were like messing around with different sketches and different skits. And I wasn't really doing any real voice acting stuff. We were just messing around at the time. But I realized that was kind of the training ground a bit for me. But one idea that came up, because we ended up doing this silly Adam West bit, but one of the ideas that came up is that I think at the time you had wanted us to do the Bruce and Enigma scene together at that. And the problem was we just didn't have a Robin Williams like that.
No, we didn't.
I was like, I could do the Keaton, but like, who's going to do the Robin Williams? I mean, Zach they're very talented, but
it was different than what your show was. I mean, like you and Andrew were really good at improv, and like that. I mean, the scene that you guys came up with was hilarious. And we all
that was.
I mean, I just sat there and watched you guys perform because I wasn't in it, but it was a lot of fun. It was hilarious. I mean, you guys were really good at improving. So it was a different format, but yeah, that was. I mean, like I'm not good at improvising. So my thought was, let's read a script. Here's what I wrote.
But I mean, I think we needed Nick for that. Like we needed that. We needed that to come together. So it was really cool to see. Now that I got to be a part of it for this year, I was like, oh, that kind of does bring that to life, because I still remember you asking.
You got a great memory, Ben.
I was like, man, like we got to finally do this after like 4 years or so after you guys did that appearance of like to bring this to life, and now it's done. It's not just that one scene; it's the entire thing. Thanks to Tim bringing us all together for a lot of that. I mean, speaking for myself, I probably would have never taken the shot if Tim hadn't reached out to me and said like, hey, like I think you could do a Keaton. And my first thought, whenever I get asked to do some of this type of stuff, especially more recently, is that the last thing I want is for audiences to be like, the guy from Superhero Stuff You Should Know thinks he can be an actor. What the hell does he think he's doing? So,
Well, Ian said that to me, and I'm like, look, you're wrong, Ian. How dare you?
Okay. Let me set the record straight. Man,
yeah.
when Tim had sent me the snippet of you reading the dialogue as Keaton's Batman,
Yeah.
I was sold immediately.
Oh,
I was like, he's got the
yeah,
right
we talked about
mannerisms,
this
he's got the right tone,
Mm.
And this is for Batman 3. I said this on our episode of my podcast where you did Val Kilmer and Michael Keaton. I was like, wow, they don't sound the same.
I hope not.
No, they don't.
I was blown away. I mean, I remember when I reached out about Keaton, you also came back to me and was like, well, you were like, I'm kind of slipping into Val Kilmer too. And I was like, no, you're not. Like, there's no way.
I remember you
There's no, and I didn't believe you. I was like, I will believe it when I hear it, And so you sent me audio of both Keaton and Kilmer. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, all right, can you do Pattinson and Affleck and dude, like, what the heck, dude? What are we doing, bro?
If you need me to try it out, I'll try it out. Yeah, like I'm very fortunate, right, to have had the opportunity to try it out because I don't think I would have gone for it really if you hadn't asked me. Like I think you had once told me that you had first asked because you felt like there was like a Keaton-esque sort of thing to my natural voice, and I'm like, really? And then ever since you told me that, when I hear my voice back, I was like, oh yeah, now I can see it. I get it now. So it's been cool to have that evolution, and just like with Tim, what you were talking about with feeling more confidence in the Nicolas Cage, I felt the same thing too, where like if he had asked me, and I think we had even talked about it years ago for a different project, and I was always just like, that's similar thing to what Nick said about like, I don't think that's in my wheelhouse. I think I needed somebody to be like, no, I think it is, and then try it out. And then I had to kind of really sit down and be like, all right, if I'm actually really going to do this, what's the process, and what sort of things can I do to bring that to life, and really like rewatching the scenes in a way that I hadn't before, where I'm like, I've know these movies, I can play these movies in my head, but in terms of like the actual way that he says the lines, I'm like, I'm gonna have to study that. So it took a while to do that, and I felt fortunate that after Batman 3, this was the next one, mainly because I wasn't the writer on this one, so it was a little bit less of a pressure, because the first one I'm just like, this is my first one. It's the one that I
wrote. Kind of like guesting on a podcast, like when I come on here a little bit, where it's like, well, I can just kind of show up and talk, maybe write a little bit here and there, but I don't have to edit or anything. All right, let's do this.
But I'm like, wait, this is my first one, and it's the one where he has to relive through all his trauma and stuff. So at least for this one, I felt a lot more relaxed to be like, okay, now I've slipped in a little bit more to that. So I was kind of glad to have had that under my belt before being able to do this for you guys in Enigma. So I'm glad that it worked out the way that it did.
Yeah, me too.
Me too.
I thought, yeah, thanks guys. I think it's time for us to go into a little bit of some deep dive type of stuff that I've noticed as we gone into it. One of the things that I've brought up is the Sam Hamm, or you guys brought up really, the Sam Hamm Batman 2 script, where we've got a lot of that influence here, with not just Dick Grayson being his own vigilante, but the Bat Boys and the Batman merchandise with the Bat mug. A lot of that stuff comes from that. Protests against the rich. I mean, these are all great ideas that were in that script that didn't really make it into Batman Returns at all, that felt appropriate to bring back. And when Sam Hamm got his shot in Batman '89, he also did some form of the Bat Boys and protesting type of stuff, and Dick Grayson being his own vigilante. So that all sort of carried over. I also noticed that Action News is back, and I gotta say, I don't know if this is due to any digital stuff that you might have done, Tim, or if you just got a guy who naturally sounds like that. But Peter McElroy, the anchor dude, sounds just like the one from '89 in the motion comic. So I did note that.
It's the happy accident, because with some of those minor characters, you're not as bent on making sure they sound like the original. With Michael Keaton, Batman, you want it to sound like Michael Keaton, and the other ones, you're like, I just want a voice actor that sounds good.
Mhm.
So that's a happy accident there. So that worked out.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Also, bringing up something that you guys alluded to, this is the only continuation in the various versions. We got Batman Forever scripts and Batman 89 comics, but this is the only one that actually kind of addresses, oh yeah, Batman was framed for killing the Ice Princess, and
Right.
we've never really addressed the fact that his name kind of didn't really get cleared at all. The best you can see is that the bat signal
Yeah.
shines at the end of Batman Returns. So
Yeah.
I always appreciated that when I read the first issue way back when we first started talking and bringing you guys on. I was like, okay, that's a pretty cool like start to it. Like it makes it different from
Yeah.
Forever. The 89 comic hadn't come out yet, but it was kind of a thing that was not really addressed at the end of Returns at
Yeah.
all. So the fact that it was here was really cool. In terms of the references, so let me know if I missed stuff. Here are the references that I caught. Obviously, we got some Burton stuff, so like Nightmare Before Christmas,
Yeah.
Edward Scissorhands, Beetlejuice are
Yeah.
all shown.
Yeah.
Dead Parent Society as opposed to Dead Poet Society. I thought that was
I
Yeah.
missed
That
that one.
was
I
there.
really like
I thought that was good.
That's great.
Fabulous Baker Boys with Michelle Pfeiffer, of course, with
Yes.
her
Yeah.
being the
On
lounge
the
singer.
piano, it's singing. Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
I do have to ask this. Now, this is very deep divey, so I don't know, Tim, if this is down to Angelica, but she's singing a different song in the motion comic versus the fan comic. What led to that? Because it looks like in the comic she's singing "Fever," which is the song in Fabulous Baker Boys. She's singing "We'll Be Together Again" in the motion comic. Was there a reason for that change? Am I just being one of those fans who just looked at this minuscule detail and is just really thinking too much about it? Like what ended up happening with this? Just out of curiosity, because I followed along, of course, with the motion comic. I mean, not the motion comic, with the fan comic while I was listening to the initial audio before I saw the edit of the motion comic stuff. So that was one of the things I noticed.
Yeah, I think that would actually fall back on Ian because I did notice that change as well, but that was actually in the script that Ian sent me.
So
How
so so the between the time Ian sent the script probably to Tim, I made changes. So in addition to being the writer, I'm also the letterer. And so being a letterer is an opportunity to do another rewrite as you were doing the comic.
I see.
And so there are things that are and that's one reason it's worth even if you love the audio drama, it's still worth reading the digital comic because it's going to be a little different. The dialogue's going to be a little bit different. Some of the references are going to be a little bit different
Mhm.
because as I was lettering it, I was like, oh, also too, like I'm working with the space I'm given from Ian, so I might make some things shorter or move things around a little bit to kind of make it
Yeah.
work into the flow of the comic. But there's also things like there's a scene in the warehouse where Nightwing is escaping and he's like, I got to bounce. That didn't make it into the audio drama because it's something I came up with when I was lettering. It's like I need something in the square that's not there, and that's what I came up with.
I see.
So there's going to be these little differences between the audio drama because it's based on an earlier script than some of the things that made it into the final comic.
So you're
Yeah.
saying the fan comic is the Elliott cut and the audio drama
It is
is the Miller cut.
it's the Miller cut versus the Elliott cut. And what's interesting too is like I think I mentioned this before. Like there were like 3 different endings to the comic. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go into that.
So Paul kind of wrote his. I kind of told the guys how I thought it should have ended. Paul came up with his version, which was much darker and meaner than what I came up with. And Ian came up with one that was much more smoochy and romantic than what I came up with. And so mine was kind of so in mine, like Catwoman leaves,
Mhm.
and we see signs that Bruce misses her. Right? That's kind of how it ends. In Paul's version, Catwoman leaves, and Bruce says, "Like, screw that bitch." And then in like Ian's version is like Catwoman doesn't leave; they live happily ever after.
Well, I think I was trying to establish a Bat family type of deal there, But I didn't really think she was going to stay, obviously with him. I thought she was going to leave the first chance she got. So going with the version that we went for was the right decision. because even though as much as I think that's a great relationship, it wouldn't have lasted.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
other
I
one's
what I
very
appreciate it.
Casino Royale.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Paul version.
Yeah. Very Casino Royale.
Yeah. Yeah, but I appreciated that in both this and in the Batman 89 comic, where it's just like, hey, this reunion doesn't go the way you think. Because you think at the end of Batman Returns, there's like this, you kind of fantasize like, oh, she would come back and they would like live happily ever after. All she has to do is
Yeah.
come back. And like, it's not that simple, especially, I guess, when Harvey Dent comes in between the two of them in both this and the
No,
Batman
yeah.
89 comic. So
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool, but also just the idea that there's just a difference in philosophy. There's a difference in how they operate that comes up in this with
Yeah.
Harvey and all that sort of solidifies, okay, like this is my line in the sand, and this is where I'm at now, where Batman is, and this is where she is, and that's why that doesn't work. And I was there just enough where there's that separation, but there's also him missing her despite that separation. So not quite to the
Yeah.
the darkness that you said Paul was going to give to it.
Paul was like, "Throw the cat out. Go rehome this cat." It's like whatever.
Oh, God.
Wow.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say, no disrespect or anything to Sam Hamm. Obviously, like I like the Batman '89 comic overall, but I do like what you guys ultimately did with Catwoman a lot more over what the version of her was in that comic. Basically, like this one felt kind of closer to like how she kind of is in the comics, and also just like her general vibe. That I could see her kind of like loosely working with Batman, like up to a certain point, and then being like,
Yeah.
I can't really, I'll help you out a little
Mhm.
bit, but like you guys were saying, like I'm not gonna just stay here. Like, this doesn't change anything, basically.
Right. Mhm.
Yeah.
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 Thank you.
Yeah.
Well,
sure.
can we talk for a second about Ian's design on Catwoman? Because he did a brand new design for Catwoman that I
Sure.
thought really worked well.
Sure.
New whip, new and talk for a second about some of the influences on the costume.
Okay. Tim and I had I'm sorry, Tim. I didn't know why you say your name for a second. I was just anyway. Eric and I had many discussions on the costume. At first, I thought I was going to recreate the '92 costume, with the stitches and
Mhm.
all, but obviously reworked. But it didn't feel right for us at the time. So I was like, well, what if I would do something different? I looked at a lot of motorcycle jackets, especially for designed for women, and I saw one, and I was like, this looks pretty good. It's got a zipper there, so I did a sketch, and it totally worked. I kept the mask from the '92 version because I like that mask.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The whip was actually Eric's idea, doing the 3 points at the end of it, because we both figured it's a tougher story in this one, so she would have a tougher whip.
Makes
Mhm.
sense.
Yeah, the whole look it just came to
But just
just came to play.
just
Yeah,
just talks to me like Ian's so good at design, and you saw this in Batman meets Godzilla, where he designed the Batmobile, which was amazing. He designed a new Batgirl motorcycle, which was amazing, and then in this comic, he did all the costume designs and stuff,
Mhm.
and it's just a lot of detail. He has a great mind for this kind of details.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. One of the things that I wanted to bring up too, because Alex mentioned it earlier, was the bat suit that we have here. That's for some reason not
Oh, that's a
showing
good
up.
segue.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. But yeah, because of the fact that it looks like we are also incorporating inspiration from the sculpt, right? The sculpt of
Nice.
the Jose Fernandez one for Batman 3 that kind of was this pseudo sonar suit before they
Sonar
came out
suit.
with the
Yeah.
the version of the sonar suit. You can tell it is that version because of it still has the oval on it while having the sonar like
yeah,
type of stuff, but it's not quite the same as what Kilmer wears in the movie.
Yeah.
And they have it on this maquette. And I had talked to somebody at Kenner who said, like, yeah, because that was originally they were thinking it was going to be Keaton anyway, and so this was supposed to be the main suit, not just the sonar suit, but the main suit for the movie until obviously things had changed. Kilmer ends up coming on board instead, and they start sort of splitting this off and turning it into stuff. But those molds are ended up being used as the Batman Forever action figure molds, which is why that's you kind of still see the sort of design on that, as well as in the Spin Master reissues here that I've already told Ian and Tim. I'm like, okay, so this is kind of basically an action figure that can serve as a Batman Forever action figure, a Batman 3 action figure, and a Batman Enigma action figure in some way. You just kind of have to recolor the silver parts a bit, but it's mostly there, right? That I thought that was really cool, and obviously I had to go get one for this one. I mean, I'm voicing him in this one, so in this Batman 3, so I'm like, if I don't get it,
you have to justify buying action figures, man.
I do. And then the other thing that I wanted to point out was this cool Easter egg I really liked, which is that Selina is in possession of the Francis Bacon painting that Bob nearly destroys in the Flugelheim.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. I like that.
That's a good one, Ian.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
And then we have the Bat helicopter. We have the one from the Kenner action figures. So of course, very appropriate for this. Was there any other temptation to bring in other Kenner type stuff into the designs, Ian?
Well, I can tell you, I'm a huge Superpowers fan. This room I'm in right now is Superpowered theme. Is my actually what my kids for his nursery. I made a Superpowered theme, and so I got all of the Superpower figures and all kinds of memorabilia in here. But so yeah, I love the Superpowers, and then all the and then all the Batman that came after it that were kind of the same vein, that fit in the same universe. So yeah, there's temptation to do more. But again, just like the economy of the story. I mean, like we did get the Batboat in. We got a Batmobile, we got a Batboat, and we got the Batcopter, and we got the
Batwing, the new Batwing.
And the Batwing. So we managed to hit all the big points. But this one I love because it's like you said, it's obviously modeled off the Kenner copter, and I had the Superpowers version of this, which was blue and yellow. But they recolored it for the Batman line, and it's a great design.
One of my favorite lines to say was "Prepare the Batcopter" in the audio. There's just something that was like something really cool about that, and try to do a Keaton-esque version of that was really really fun to do, because I'm like, oh, we didn't get to see this. I get new territory here, my own Batcopter, my own vehicle. So that was I really appreciated this one too. Other references. Okay, I had never heard of this movie before, but I had to look this up because I didn't get the Rosie Greer and Ray Milland joined to the net. And then I was like, okay, I guess
you're too young. Yeah, I didn't think many people would get this one. But if it sent people Googling it,
The Thing with Two Heads is the movie.
Yeah, it's The Thing with Two Heads. And so, I mean, it's something very Robin Williams. To me, I was just channeling Robin Williams when I wrote that.
Yeah. There's that. I did know in Flynn, but that's probably because the Flynn movies are referenced in Austin Powers, and so
it's very pop culture, so
that too, so I love those. And then I think one of the most fun ones is the one that Tim got to say, where he tells Harvey Dent that he's altered the deal. Pray he doesn't alter it any further.
Empire Strikes Back.
It just wrote itself,
Yeah.
I had written a scene that I was very tempted to do, where like Batman leaves some evidence for the Billy D. Williams Harvey Dent, and I was very tempted to have Harvey pick it up and be like, "What have we here?" But I was like, I don't know. Let's see what else we have here. Oh yeah, the other thing I wanted to bring up, and this speaks to what Tim was saying about, like, if you're going to have him in Arkham, have him fight people from the comics. This whole idea of Batman being in Arkham, fighting the Arkham, we've always loved seeing that, obviously, in the Arkham Asylum game. And we did get to see that was proposed to be partially at least Bruce Wayne in Arkham in the unmade Batman Unchained, which is also where Nicolas Cage's Scarecrow comes in.
Yeah.
And I noticed, okay, in Batman 89 Echoes, they bring in Bruce Wayne to Arkham Asylum, but by the time he suits up as Batman, he leaves Arkham. You never actually get a fight of Batman fighting
Yeah.
supervillains in Arkham Asylum. In Echoes,
Right.
you guys have Batman fighting supervillains in a
Yeah.
Burton-esque Arkham. So I do appreciate
It's
that.
not that hard to do. You just
No, you just did it.
you
You
have
just
him
did
break
it.
in, and he starts fighting the bad guys. That's how you do it.
So I did, as usual, I appreciated that aspect of it, because it's you always want to see the villains who you know probably aren't going to make it to be the main villain in an upcoming movie
Yeah.
or segment
Yeah.
stuff. So just to be able to see them, those are the perfect villains for that, right?
Absolutely.
Solomon Grundy, of course. And then let's see other things. The Halloween setting, of course, very appropriate for now as we're recording this in October.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. I would have liked to have leaned more into the Halloween. We didn't. I mean, just because of space and stuff, we didn't get into a huge amount of Halloween stuff. But we tried to land it in the last issue with the theme park and people showing up in costumes, just to kind of remind people this is kind of a Halloween themed comic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I liked having that that aspect, so you can bring in the pumpkin head. Like I love the blimp type of thing, or the dirigible
Yeah.
that Scarecrow's got that he loads him on. I love that. I love the design of Scarecrow, of course. That was there, and having the Halloween setting just really makes it just brings it together, because it's like, well, the last movie's Christmas, so setting
Exactly.
it in Halloween of '93 or whatever is such a natural thing that it seems like everybody like kind of would want to see is a Scarecrow in Halloween versus Batman in a Tim Burton movie. So that was great. And then the other thing I appreciated too is one of my favorite aspects of the original Batman Forever script, or the Bachelor's draft that we put in the Batman 3 one, was how the origin of Riddler's outfit is this leprechaun outfit that he steals off of this character, and the fact that Dick references him in Enigma as this leprechaun looking dude, and I was like, okay, I like that.
Yeah.
So I guess that brings me to the last question that you guys have kind of hinted at already, which is, will there be a continuation to Enigma?
Okay, do you want to take this one, Eric, or should I?
It's the prequel,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it'll happen at some point. Ian's got a lot of projects he's working on, and by the time he gets through, doing some of these projects, maybe I'll have some story beats for him, and we'll start working it out. So Ian's got some cool projects going on, and I'll let him speak to those. I don't want to spoil anything, but I'm happy to take a little break and let Ian have the spotlight and do some of just continue the fan comics and stuff. But I can see it happening, or at least our kids might do one day. We'll see.
Nice.
Well, to go back to that question for a second, I did have a couple of ideas for a continuation, including a certain villain. I could say this now, Mad Hatter.
Ooh.
And actually picturing Brad Dusseldorf as Mad Hatter. I know people have said it in the comics, he's more Scarecrow. I'm like, no, he's not. He's perfect for Mad Hatter. Because Mad Hatter is very creepy. Brad Dusseldorf is very creepy, obviously, with the Chucky movies. So that's how I vision that.
Oh,
I
right,
know.
yeah.
Yeah. I know Nick had, pitched an idea to me through emails, because he would definitely want to collaborate. So there are some ideas that I had that are in mind, obviously, for continuation. Because I would love to do another Burton versus Batman story, absolutely, but it's just a question of when. And as Eric said, I do have other projects right now. I can talk about this now. I had sent Tim, and Tim, you did read this as well, the Ben Affleck Batman script.
Yes.
And Ben read it. Eric, you read it as well.
I did.
Yeah. and I've already voiced my character for that particular production.
As have I.
Now, yes.
Yep.
What? You have? Wow. I wonder what character you're playing.
Alfie's going to be part of it next.
Yes.
Man, you got action figures and cats. I did not get notice that to bring either.
But yeah, after that, I'm gonna be the fan comic of Ben Affleck's The Batman is currently in production. I stopped
Mhm.
working on issue 1 because I was finishing another project. As soon as I said I'm gonna go back to work on that, but I have a second artist. He's doing issue 2, and the pages are phenomenal. So
Nice.
I think this one's gonna be another motion comic, if I'm being honest.
Ooh, okay.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Tim, it's time to
Yeah.
edit.
Well, most of the actors and roles are already filled for the Batman. I know Ben has done his part. I have several other actors that have done their part. There's a couple main ones that still need to get done. But yeah, a lot of the casting on the Batman's already accomplished. So
Nice.
yep.
yeah,
Ian, we might as well throw this out since we've got this upcoming book, and I've told people already, but you and I are collaborating for a Neuverse
yeah,
thing.
yeah. Yes, we are.
It's the
Yes.
audio
God
drama
bless
for
you
Batman
guys for it.
Oh,
Resurrection. Yes.
Yeah.
And then we've got the release of Batman Revolution. We're just like, we can just continue forward into Revolution then.
Oh,
since
yeah,
the
absolutely.
books-
Absolutely.
yeah, but our idea was, because this is, I mean, look at this book, right? Like,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, we either poor Tim has to spend a couple years on something that's going to be over a couple hours of an audio drama, or we make it into, we make it a little episodic and stuff. And so I had some ideas in terms of how to structure and split it up. And then Ian had contacted me being like, what do you think about this as an audio drama? I was like, not only do I like the idea, but I'm also like halfway through. So here it is. And then we have some ideas in terms of other things to add to it, or kind of create our own continuity of stories with Keaton, where there's potentially some, like, another story that ties into this one that's our an original. But either way, like, we've got that going, because a lot of people have wanted to hear an audio drama version of Batman Resurrection, and while the Will Dameron read audiobook is still pretty good, it's people want that Neuverse creative version, Tim. They want
People want to hear Ben Wan play Batman.
That's what this whole episode is about. It's just getting Ben booked onto more audio dramas.
Exactly. Oh man!
If I could rewind back to the potential sequel to Enigma, including Mad Hatter, the interesting part about that is that one of the writers for, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Batman Dark Knight, another unproduced screenplay that we adapted.
Yeah.
One of the writers that I reached out to, like, on Instagram, I think it was Lee Shapiro, I think that's his name.
Yeah.
He said that they not only wrote the script for Batman Dark Knight, but they wrote a treatment for a sequel that would have included Mad Hatter, which Mad Hatter is teased at the very end of the script. But he did say that they wrote a treatment and everything as a follow-up, like potential follow-up if they were going to make this movie. Warner Brothers wanted to know where they were going to go next, and so they wrote a treatment. So I kind of sheepishly reached out to him, or responded like, well, if you write the script, I'll adapt the audio drama for that sequel. He never directly responded to that question, but I was like, if you want to flesh that out, we will produce it. But that never happened. But we can make a sequel to Enigma with Mad Hatter, and it'll be bigger and better anyway. So
I mean, a Burton-esque Mad Hatter as the next one, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Batman Wonder Mayor.
I'm looking forward to seeing where else this could go with, like, again, the Burton imagery, having it evolve, because it's interesting. I think people sometimes forget when they look at other things and be like, well, this doesn't feel like it's in the same world. I'm like, 89 and Return sometimes don't feel like they're in the same world, man. Like, this is it's sometimes it's about the evolution of that, and just kind of staying true to, okay, what's the spirit of these characters that could be cool from a Burton-esque lens. So I think Enigma definitely provides that, and I'm looking forward to seeing where that could go in the future.
Absolutely.
Nice. So I think that's pretty much about it, guys. I think we can have you guys do your plugs of where we can find you, other comics that you're working on, or audio dramas in the case of Tim. So we can start with Eric.
All right. Well, you can find me on Twitter at Elliott Comics. And I am just waiting for Ian to free up so we can do some more work together. Waiting for Tim to cast me into one of these audio dramas one day.
Consider it
But
done.
Thanks, Ben, for throwing me a lifeline and keeping me relevant. It's always good talking Batman comics. I enjoy these. We do these once or twice a year. I always enjoy it.
Yeah. Okay. Ian.
Okay, well, you can find me on Triple Threat Comics YouTube channel. Just type it in on YouTube. We're also on Twitter, just Comics Threat, all one word. Facebook, just Triple Threat Comics. You get the gist, folks.
Mm-hmm.
I like how he tells you how these social media platforms work.
I know.
You go on YouTube and you type the word and you then hit search.
I know. I don't know why I did that. I just get on
thumbs up and subscribe.
Hit the notification bell.
Yeah, please do. Yeah. But yeah.
Triple Threat Comics. Yeah.
Where you can find my comic series, Codename Hunter. It's issues 1 through 3. Currently working on issues 4 and 5 as we speak.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah. And I've been fortunate to be a guest on Triple Threat Comics a couple of times. I think we've talked about future stuff since I've got another project that's The Crow. And so we'll have some other conversations then when that's released. So I'm looking forward to that.
Absolutely.
Cool.
All right. Tim?
Well, you can find me on YouTube at Neuverse Creative. Make sure to type in Neuverse Creative.
I knew someone was going to do it. I knew
it. And you can find us there. We're also on Spotify or anywhere that you listen to podcasts if you just want to listen to them.
I know you're on Spotify. Okay.
Yeah, you can find us there. If that's sometimes that's easier if you're driving or whatever. Sometimes I do that, which is helpful. But we're currently working on a few more different audio dramas. We are in the middle of an adaptation of the new Superman movie, where Ben Wan plays a role in that. Ben Wan actually helped me write the script and played a pretty vital role in making sure that we did it justice, because it's a hot movie right now. We want to do it well. We're also working on an adaptation of the Flash movie, which Ben Wan plays Batman in, or one of the Batman.
Nice.
So he obviously
the Ben Wan multiverse.
I know. Right?
It's George Clooney, isn't it?
How'd you know? Alex, you're not supposed to spoil it. Just piggybacking real quick on that, I have heard a clip, and Tim is also a big part of. I don't know if you want to how much you want to reveal Tim, but Tim is a big part of the cast in that, and I think our dynamic in that is probably some of the best that I've heard of us, if I dare say so myself, in terms of patting ourselves on the back. But
I didn't even say it, but yeah, I'm playing Barry Allen in that one, and absolutely. And I know the movie was like panned by many people, but I love the Flash. I love the character, but also love the movie and the whole Keaton, dynamic, him being in the multiverse. I just love it. So we're working on our own version of that, and we have an alternate ending to it, which I think is really exciting and fun. That Ben worked really hard to help me figure out how to do that.
Nice.
And so working on that, working on 2 different Batman Year Ones. We have one in the Schumacher-verse, one in the Reeves-verse. And then we have a few other projects that Ian's working on and writing, and a lot of things in the works. But that's actively what we're working on.
Yeah.
And with that, thank you.
Sweet. All right. Make sure to follow everybody involved. And with that, that is Superhero Stuff You Should Know.
Superhero Stuff You Should Know.
And welcome back. Ian staying on with us for the outro, but just as usual, we don't usually have an ad break or an ad read. We have a charity promotion, and since we believe that if you've read or watched anything about superheroes, you should become one yourself, this month's charity is Blood Cancer United, formerly known as the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. And this is a charity for resources, support, and advocacy for those affected by blood cancers. And it's one that's personal to me, as I'm a survivor of Hodgkin's lymphoma myself. So please follow them and support them at bloodcancerunited.org. Give what you can and be a superhero. Lastly, there's a newly released director's cut of the 1990 Captain America movie, one that's apparently, according to Alex, superior and more mature than the one that was released over 30 years ago. Alex, you've seen this.
Oh yes, I have. It's really good. They did like a 4K scan of like a work print. And it, like it's got like a synthy kind of score. It's got like its own kind of vibe to it. I have to, 'cause I have both on Blu-ray now, so like I have to go back and watch the original 90s version now and that one just to kind of compare. But definitely I was watching it. There's some crazy stuff in it. I don't want to go too in depth into it, but I will say there is a scene involving like his former colonel, like Captain America modern day visits his colonel at a nursing home, and the guy talks about like the wars that like he missed in like Vietnam and how like all these other like wars don't make any sense. And he's like, I saw someone that looked just like you, Cap, like just a kid die in the mud basically for no reason. And I was just like, wow, like this is in, like no shade or anything, but this is in that same movie or that same kind of like, it just changes the whole vibe seeing a scene like that, honestly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it, because if you guys are in LA and want to see not only a screening of that version of the movie, but also a live Superhero Stuff You Should Know episode, come to Cinephile Video on November 11th. That's Veterans Day here in the United States. At 8:30 p.m., we're doing a Q&A with screenwriter Stephen Tolkien to talk about how this film is different from the previous version, the superior version, the one that's closer to what he wanted to do with the script in the movie. And then we'll screen the Albert Pune cut for the audience of Captain America. So check it out and let us know if we'll see you there. So that's my announcement. And then we've got, let's see, Alex, you might have already plugged your shows. Any latest updates or episodes? Probably not for this time, you said, right?
No, not for this time, but just, stay tuned. We got some stuff coming up.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. All right. Big thanks to our editor and producer, Dan, for gathering the visuals for the YouTube. He also edits a lot of these episodes, especially as you've seen, things are becoming more edit heavy with the intro, the outro that he's put together for us. Alfie's little cameo type of stuff, the things that they add for those. Those are always amazing. I love that. So please shout out to Dan in the comments. He does not get enough credit from you guys in the comments.
Dan the man.
Exactly. So we can switch off on the different comments here from different people. So first one, I'll read this one, is from Chef Boy RD1. First, I was going to say Chef Boy RD. Oh, yeah, Chef RD1 instead, yeah. So Ben hit the perfect pose for it. Oh, yeah, this is a video. Oh, yeah, this comment comes with a video of me being garbed in the Chicano Batman outfit before the panel for Batman Forever. So Ben hit the perfect pose for it. No smile and arms inside the cape, just like Batman would actually do. Well, thank you, Chef Boy RD. Never thought I would say that out loud, but in terms of who to think. But yeah, this is a comment we actually tried to address in the previous one, but I think we had some sound issues during that time. So when we were showing the video, so I wanted to bring it back here because we had to cut that last time. But yeah, no, I appreciate it. All right, let's have. Actually, I'll read the next one because the one after this one's just to me, and the one after this you should be interested in, Alex. I swear these are not all about me. I just wanted to thank Nick Martino for the compliment here. He's called it one of the best, if not the best, Batman voice for all his audio projects here on YouTube. Well, thank you. I swear that's not me under another username. These guys are not me. I'm secretly Chef Boyardee and Vic Martino.
Sure, Ben.
The one that's really me is the commenter who's just like, the guy from Superhero Stuff You Should Know thinks he's Batman.
It's like a Two-Face thing.
Yeah.
It's like instead of like Two-Face doing stuff, he's just like trolling himself, basically.
I'm trolling my own show. Yeah, if you see any hate comments, it's actually me, guys. It's not actually. It's not really. All right. This one I think is more for you, Alex. This comes from, you might recognize the username. If you don't.
1.
It's Ruben.
First comment. Thank you guys for mentioning me at Cool Panel. Hopefully I'll go to one of your panels soon. And I fixed my Robin fan cast for Tim Burton's Batman 3. And it's Edward Furlong. Yeah, I guess I could see that. Yeah, that's the first
Yeah, I
time I
can't.
haven't been like, back to work, Ruben. Like, there's like a reoccurring thing where every time like he does like a fan cast, he'll be like, oh wait, hold on, I fixed it, but he never has like the original guy just do Stickley. I'm like, there's no replacement, dude. Original Stickley's the best, man. Come on. It's like, no, I fixed it. I got this other guy. I'm like, no.
Alex, I need to write a Batman Forever prequel or something and have you as Stickley.
Stickley Begins.
Yeah, do it.
It's him instead of Lucius Fox. There is no Lucius Fox in the universe. It's just Stickley.
Didn't you get the memo?
Does it come in black?
Yeah.
All right, so let's go on to our Patreon patrons. So, Stickley, why don't you give us the roster for this episode?
All right. So Patreon, Halsey D. Corbin, Slight Rebellion off Madison, Choco Milk, Super Inframan, Jeffrey Scott Richards / SDCT Productions, Derek Osborne, Jason Price, Rebellious Monkey 98, Cybersticks, Devin, Benjamin Vega, Nick Gonzalez, Nolan Moore, Tito G, Anakin, and it sounds like Anakin, and Ben Lee Page.
Which is obviously me under a different name.
Yeah,
Again,
all of these are just Ben, except
all
for
of
the
these are me
Brady
giving
one.
myself money.
Yeah.
Who
Just
knew?
personally funding everything.
Just a special shout outs to the Patreon patrons, Chaco Milk and Nick Gonzalez, who also are in Batman Enigma, the motion comic. So Chaco Milk does the voice of the auctioneer as well as one of the henchmen, and Nick Gonzalez, of course, the voice of the Robin Williams Riddler. So thank you guys for being part of that and being our Patreon patrons.
Brady's also my co-host on Flashbacks as well.
Yeah,
so
Chaco, Matt Herring, RIP. These are our other supporters. Sorry, I'm just going right into the list without any context. Our other supporters, Matt Herring, RIP. Leander Nicholson, who helps me with a lot of the live shows. Logan Wood, Neuverse Creative. We know that guy who is here. Triple Threat Comics. We also know that guy. He's right here. He's part of the show right now.
Famous.
And the Bat Feed, Aaron Quinn, at Prof. Ishikano Batman, who gave me the bat cowl and the cape in that video. Rob Ailing,
Nice.
Robert Schumann. Oh yeah, Robert Schumann, congratulations on your engagement. It's been a while since I realized I haven't acknowledged that on it, but thank you for letting us know. Yeah, congratulations. Sparkageddon, Cookie Noms, Elijah B, Shamrock Balls, Ian H, Walter the Wobot, John Wells, Rye Guy, Jackson Putnam, Tway N, Stage Bat, at W.Media, Paul G, Sean Willits, Ruben, we know that guy.
Ruben.
Ute. sorry, Yeet. Yeet I, not Ute. Yeet I, Mine Kidzak, Cole Watkins, who created the quick change Bruce Wayne thing that we have here. You can find him not at Yodel King. Not Yodel King, Alex. it's at Ye Old King _ Creative Sparrow. Drew and Neil at 1995 Batman. Cinephile Video, and Tyler Sandifer. Thank you all for your support and sometimes being part of the show or sometimes showing up for our live events or any of those other things. So thank you very much. And as you've heard in our previous ad, if you guys want to be part of a lot of this, you can join us at patreon.com/superheroSYSK. And Ian, you have your own Patreon as well at Triple Threat Comics. Why don't you go into that?
Well, I do have a Patreon page. You said to go to it and type to any of the links in the YouTube page. And I'm doing mostly movie reviews, television reviews, and hopefully some video game playthroughs.
Oh, nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Also, check out any of my artwork very early.
It's always cool to give the early access to the Patreon.
Oh, yeah.
So, if you want to get early access to Triple Threat Comics, if you're a fan of Ian's and Batman Enigma, definitely check that out at his Patreon as well.
Right?
Yeah. He had a Fantastic Four one for not the movie, the animated one, right?
Didn't you do one with? Didn't he do one with John?
Oh yes. Yeah.
Yes, it did. Yes, it
What the hell
did.
am I talking about? Yeah, that's the big one.
Yeah. Come on.
Yeah.
and Carl
Yeah.
Newman.
Yeah, that's right. That was a great episode. It's unedited. You can see it on the Patreon page. You can see the edited version on my YouTube page. And these were two terrific guys, first of all, and I was glad they were able to do it, especially with the schedules.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome.
And Carl had so many stories.
Sure. Yeah, no, we filled up like a 2-hour episode just talking to him about his stories in the interview, and I'm sure there's more that we just didn't get to in talking to him. So, yeah, no, I mean Carl's great. He's still, obviously supporting us, especially when I asked him like, hey, you want this quick change Bruce Wayne shirt? And he's like, sure. And I'll do, I didn't even have to ask him to do a photo and to put it on his own socials because, he loves the fans and it's great that he finally gets some recognition from the fans after all of these years because none of us had really heard about him that much outside of seeing his name in the credits until a couple years ago when he started doing the podcast circuit with our show. So he's been on your show, he's been on, ours. And I mean, just much love to Carl Newman.
Yeah. I hope to have him on again at some point.
Sweet. Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
All right. And I think that'll be it. Any last things, Ian, before we wrap?
No, I think that's it.
Cool. All right. And with that, we want you to do us a favor. We want you to tell all your friends about us.
What are you?
I'm Ben Wan.
And I'm Alex.
And
I'm Ian Miller.
Oh, yes. This is Ian Miller. And this is Superhero Stuff You Should Know. See you guys.
So no Stickley in the in your
No. We didn't have it in there.
What a missed opportunity, guys.
What the hell is going on here?
I could have just taken the audio from our Batman Forever audio drama and just punched it in, but that's all right.
Back to work, Ian.
Alex, you should have voiced that character. What in the world?
Man.
We're gonna have to remake that one.
Great story. I got one addition. You gotta add Stickley in. I'm sorry.